सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। नमस्कार। We are looking at the different kinds of yajnas that Lord Krishna is describing. Now we go to verse number 27. Where Lord Krishna is describing the same yajna of self-restraint of a much higher level. The verse 26, Lord Krishna describes the yogis who restrain all the sense organs and prevent them from any experience or relation with sense objects. Here now in the verse 27, Lord Krishna goes much further than that. So let us read the verse 27. सर्वाणि इंद्रिय कर्माणि प्राण कर्माणि चापरे आत्म संयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञान दीपिते। सर्वाणि इंद्रिय कर्माणि, इंद्रियाणाम कर्माणि, इंद्रिय कर्माणि. All the actions of the indriya, the sense organs, which then would include both the organs of perception as well as organs of action. So, like listening, touching, seeing, tasting, smelling, these are the actions of the organs of action, organs of perception. Speaking, grasping, walking, these are all the actions of the organs of action. Sarvani indriya karmani, the five organs of perception and the five organs of action. Prana karmani cha, and all the activities taking place at the level of prana or breathing, breathing in, breathing out, all of these. Atma Sanyama Yoga, all of these activities are offered. You do in the fire of Atma Sanyama, the fire of self-restraint. Where here, the word Sanyama is explained by sage Patanjali as the last three steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So this Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-step yoga, the last three Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi is called Sanyama by sage Patanjali. So this is what Lord Krishna is referring to as Atma Sanyama. Dharana is focusing the mind, concentration of mind. Dhyana is meditation, and Samadhi is absorption of the mind. Together these three are called Sanyama. Atma Sanyama Yoga now. So these are the practices at the level of the mind. Before that there is Pratyahara, where all the activities of sense organs are withdrawn Before there is pranayama, where there is restraint of prana. Pratyahara, where there is restraint of the sense organs. Asana, of course, is restraint of the body. Pranayama, restraining the mind. Pratyahara, restraining the sense organs. Dharana, restraining the mind. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi are the progressive degrees of restraining the mind until the mind gets absorbed. Becomes free from all thinking, absorbed, and therefore abiding in the self. Jnana-dipite. So here is a yogi also who offers all of this in the fire of self-knowledge, ignited by the self-knowledge. Jnana-dipite atma-samyama yogagnau. Ignited by the fire of knowledge, they offer all the activities of the body, the pranas, the sense organs, and the mind. There is a total restraint at all the levels. This is called samadhi or total absorption, total actionlessness at the level of the whole personality. Everything is tranquil, tranquility at all the levels. So these are yogis of great accomplishment who have by long practice been able to bring about a restraint at all the levels of personality. And for that, the Yoga Shastra prescribes the practice of asana at the level of body. Pranayama means restraining, with Lord Krishna will further talk about that also. Pratyahara, we just say, it is the restraining of the sense organs, inwardness of the sense organs. Dharana, concentration of mind on the object of meditation. Dhyana, the meditation upon the object of meditation. Dharana is the concentrating mind upon the object of concentration. But different kind of objects are prescribed, internal, inside, outside. Dhyanam means maintaining the same thought flow in the mind. And samadhi, when the mind is resolved completely, effortlessly. Dhyanam, meditation, involves an effort to maintain a given thought flow, but when that effort also is no more there, and the mind just gets absorbed in total tranquility, total peace. It is totally centered upon the self, abiding in the self. This is a great yajna, because the offering is called Atma Samyama Yoga. Now, in the agni of the fire of Atma Samyama Yoga, where Atma Samyama, self-restraint itself is yoga, in the fire of the yoga, all these activities are offered. So this is a yajna with jnana-dipita, with understanding. This is being done. So Lord Krishna says, there are some yogis who perform this kind of yajna. Also yajna, because also there is offering, sacrificing all activities of body, all activities of prana, all activities of the sense organs, all activities of the mind, all of these are offered in the fire of samyama, self-restraint. And there can be a long discussion about this, but for our purpose this will suffice. That these are all the yogis that also Lord Krishna includes in this list of the different yajnas. So this is also yajna, because here also offering is made. And when this also is done in the spirit of worship, with no personal agenda, it becomes yajna. Then we come to verse 28. But Lord Krishna describes more common yajnas. Dravya yajnastapo yajnaha
द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञाः
yoga yajnastatha pare
योगयज्ञास्तथा परे
swadhyaya yajna yajnascha
स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञाश्च
yatayas samshita vrataha.
यतयः सञ्चितव्रताः.
So dravya yajnaha, tapo yajnaha, yoga yajnaha, apara yogin, other yogis, swadhyaya yajnaha, jnana yajnaha, yataya samshita vrataha. So Lord Krishna describes several more yajnas here. Dravya yajnaha, dravya tyagaha eva yajna. Dravya means the money or wealth. So yajna of the nature of dravya means dravya tyagaha. The charity, giving away of the wealth or one's possessions is called dravya yajna. Yatha shastram dravya yajnaha. Yatha shastram. Deshe, kale cha patre cha. The dhanam or charity should be given deshe, at the right place, kale, at the right time, patre, to the right person, of the right thing, as best as we can. So there are many stipulations as far as dhanam or charity is concerned. So the people, when they make charity, then they take all this into account as much as they can. Otherwise you can give, as long as given selflessly, then becomes a yajna. So giving can also be what they call the Ishta, Purta, Datta, Ishta karma, Purta karma, Datta karma, which is what householders do. Various actions done for the social service. Vapi, Kupa, Tadagadi, Devatayadhanani cha, Annapradanam Aramaha, Purtamiti Abhidhiyate, is called Purta karma. Ishta karma is, of course, we already described earlier that the yogis perform different yajnas. So that is called Ishta. Purta is acts of social service. Vapi, Kupa, Taragadi, in those days, Vapi is a step well, Kupa is a well, Taraga is a pond. So people in fact do all these things as public service for providing the services of water to the needy people. Devatayatanani, also building temples. Annapradhanam, building of annakshetras where the food is distributed to the needy. Aramaha, also creating the place of the parks, etc., where people can relax. Purtam iti abhidhiya. This kind of action is called Purtam. Sharanagata santranam, bhutanam, chapahimsanam, bhairveda yaddanam, dattam iti abhidhiyate. Other kind of action is called dattam. Sharanagata santranam, protecting, taking care of sharana. Somebody comes to you for refuge, and protecting him, providing the refuge. Bhutanam, chapahimsanam, a vow of non-violence for the other living beings. Bhairveda yaddanam, danam, the charity that is given outside the Vedi. Meaning that when you perform a yajna or other religious activity, Then we give dakshina to the priest. That is also dhanam. But that is because that priest has performed a certain stipulated action and is compensated for that. Bahirvedi, dhanam or the charity given outside of the Vedi, outside of the religious activity, for the sake of giving. All of this, bahirvedi yaddanam, dattam iti abhidiyate, these actions are called dattam. So these are all included in dravya yajna. All of these involve this expenditure of dravya or money for the purpose of the welfare activities, for the welfare of the society, welfare of the needy. So there are people who are devoted to these kind of actions, who feel for the need of other people, who feel that they are blessed by the Lord with more than what they need, that inner richness is felt. There is an urge of reaching out to the needy people. As prompted by the urge, they perform a variety of actions. We simply describe the traditional definition of Ishta, Purta, Datta. But in the present circumstances, whatever we feel is an action for fulfilling the need of the needy people, what we call dhanam. It's not just giving simply money only, but say the acts of social service, creating the facilities for people, fulfilling the other needs of the people, and of course offering food, etc. All of this is in the category of dhanam. Dana yajnaha, dravya yajnaha. So dravya tyaga eva yajnaha. Thus giving away this dravya, one's own wealth, with the spirit of offering, serving the Lord, is also called a yajna. That's called, these people are called dravya yajnaha. So those who give away money in this manner are called dravya yajnaha, performing yajna in the form of giving away the money. Tapo yajnaha, tapasvinaha. Some people are devoted to tapas or austerities. So many kinds of austerities are well known. Fasting is something that immediately comes to the mind. Fasting is the most common austerity. And people who are devoted to this austerity find various occasions for fasting. They fast on Ekadashi. Some people fast on the Chaturthi. Some fast on Purnima, on Ashtami, on special festivals like Shivaratri, Janmashtami, in the holy month of Shravana, in Navaratri, every Monday, every Saturday, every Thursday, and so on and so forth. Fasting is an austerity. So tapas, an austerity. Then different kinds of austerity, tapas also. People take to Padayatra. They walk on feet, with their, they walk to the shrine. In Gujarat, there are many people who walk to a famous shrine of Lord Krishna, Ranchhol Dakur. They walk every Purnima to Dwarika, to a shrine of Mother Goddess Amba. And similarly in other states also there are these shrines. People go to Shabarimala, Tirupati. So all of these are also tapasya penance. Where there is restraint of body and sense organs and mind, that's called tapas. The highest tapas, of course, is restraining the mind, but all this is tapas, self-restraint. Depriving one's own body, depriving the sense organs of their basic, even their needs, deliberately depriving. To develop a self-control, self-purification. Tapo yajnaha, tapah yajna yesham tapasvinaha, te tapo yajnaha, that is tapasvinaha. People who love these different penances, they are called tapo yajnaha. So that also is all conducive to, it's a yajna, because the offering is made. Whenever restraint is there, we are offering. When I observe a fast, that means I are restrained. My body wants to eat and I do not permit it to eat, so that's an offering, that's called yajna. Tapo yajna. Many kinds of austerities people perform, Krishna, Chandrayana, etc., traditionally described in these smritis. Yoga yajna. Here yoga is the traditional yoga, the Ashtanga yoga. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, just we talked about. So there are those who do this yoga. That's what they like to do. People are born with certain tendencies. And therefore different practices are adopted by different people because they have aptitude for that. Everybody cannot do everything. Everybody doesn't have that generosity of giving charity. Everybody may not have that self-restraint for the tapas or penance. Everybody may not have the disposition for yoga. The yoga yajnaha. Well, the yoga itself is yajna. Because at every level it involves restraint. Like yama, niyama. Yama means what? Do not do this. Ahimsa, satyam, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. Ahimsa, non-violence. Satyam, non-falsehood. Asteyam, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, non-indulgence. Aparigraha, non-hoarding. Non. Because the mind has a tendency to do this. When I get angry, out of anger or greed or kama, krodha, lobha, my tendency to hurt somebody, ahimsa. Non-violence. I have to keep my anger under check. Satyam, a vow of speaking truth and speaking in a pleasant manner without hurting the feelings of others is also a tapas. And very often we sacrifice this truthfulness or honesty because of greed, because of insecurity. So those tendencies have to be kept in check. Asteyam, stealing. Meaning that taking away something that belongs to somebody else, stealing, asteyam. So withholding taxes also will be called as stealing because it belongs to government. Just as an example. Brahmacharya, self-restraint, non-indulgence, not allowing the sense organs to indulge into anything, which we discussed. Aparigraha, not keeping to oneself what is more than necessary. Because when I keep more than necessary, then I am depriving others of those who have the need for those things, and so forth. So this yama means what not to do, restrain, is yajna. Niyama, shaucha, santosha, tapaha, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhanam. Saucha, purity, cleanliness. So cleanliness at the external level of the body, the clothes, my surrounding, shaucham, cleanliness, and inner cleanliness, keeping my mind clean or pure. So when impure thoughts arise, then I resolve them and neutralize them by the opposite called pratipaksha bhavana. Shaucham. It's also a vrata. That also involves restraint. That also involves offering, becomes a yajna. Santosha, contentment. Contentment is the antidote to lobha or the greed. Ahimsa is to curb the anger, impulse of anger. Santosha is to curb the impulse of greed. Greed is not being satisfied with what I have. Santosha, contentment, is a great value. So it's called niyama. As a rule, I follow contentment. That keeps under check the lobha. Brahmacharya, which keeps under check the kama. So kama, krodha, lobha. Kama, brahmacharya. Krodha, ahimsa, non-violence. Lobha, santosha, contentment. With anything, whatever I have. Whatever Ishvara gives me, content with that. Tapaha, austerity, which we talked about. Swadhyaya, regular study of the scriptures, or repeating the mantra. Pranava, Swadhyaya means repeating Omkara. In Yoga Shastra prescribed as a mantra. Pranava tasya vachakaha. And therefore repeating pranava or repeating any mantra of Ishtadevata would be called Swadhyaya, or studying the scriptures. Ishvara pranidhanam, performing actions as an offering to the Lord. So the yama, niyama, all of these also become yajna. The rest are pranayama, pratyahara, all of these are described in other places in these verses. So when this verse says yoga yajna, those for whom the yoga itself is yajna, we can say that those who are devoted to the practice of yama and niyama. Yama, self-restraint from violence, from untruthfulness, from stealing, from indulgence, from hoarding. Niyama, what is to do what is right. Yama, restraining from doing what is wrong. Niyama, doing what is right. So yoga yajna, people devoted to this can be called yoga yajna, where yoga itself becomes yajna, for whom are called yoga yajna. Yoga yajna yesham te yoga yajna. So dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, tatha apare. Others. Others means we are describing one different kind of yogis, so other yogis are like this. Swadhyaya jnana yajnascha. Swadhyaya we talked about. Swadhyaya yajna. Yathavidi rugadebhyasa. Swadhyaya adhyetavya. One should study the Swadhyaya, the Veda of one's own branch, which one belongs to. So study of the Veda can be called Swadhyaya. The first level of study takes place in the Gurukulam, where I study from the teacher. The teacher repeats and the teacher recites and the student repeats. That's how the Veda is studied, along with various other limbs, and memorized. And even when the person now comes back from the student life and enters the life of householder, the Swadhyaya is continued. That's one of the yajnas, one of the 5 yajnas, Mahayajna. This is called Brahma Yajna. Brahma here means Veda. Brahma Yajna means the recital of the Veda. It is said that when we have studied the recital of the Veda, we should not forget it. Forgetting what we have studied, particularly recital of Veda, amounts to Brahmahatya. Is a sin. So a householder also is required to regularly recite the Veda. It's called Svadhyaya Yathavidi Rugadi Abhyasaha. Yathavidi, as prescribed, after taking bath, after self-purification, facing the east, etc. And then reciting the Veda. It's called Swadhyaya Yajna. Jnana Yajnascha Jnanam Shastrada Parijnanam. So Swadhyaya Yajna involves recital of the Veda. Jnana Yajna involves the knowledge of what the Vedas teach. And we can also say here that Jnana Yajna also means the study of the scriptures, study of Vedanta scriptures also, and pursuit of knowledge can be called Jnana Yajna. So that also becomes a Yajna. A daily recital of the Vedas also becomes Yajna. There also you are offering your time and energy into doing what is required to be done. And Jnana Yajna, devoting oneself to pursuit of knowledge also is called Jnana Yajna. Swadhyaya Jnana Yajnascha Yatayah Samshita Vrataha. So some commentators take this as a separate yajna. Yatayah Samshita Vrataha. Yatah ascetics. Samshita Vrataha. Those severe vows, whatever vows they have taken, they follow those vows. That also is yajna. All Samshita Vrataha can go with all of the other yajnas also, that they follow their vows strictly. Now, Lord Krishna continues with the next verse. So here we find that Lord Krishna describes pranayama as a yajna. That's why yoga yajna we took only yama and niyama. So verse 29 says, Apane juhvati pranam
Apane juhvati pranam
Prane panam tatha pare
Prane panam tatha pare
Prana panagati ruddha
Prana panagati ruddha
Pranayama parayanaha
Pranayama parayanaha
Pranayama parayanaha Parayanaha devoted to pranayama, ayama the control, pranayama control of prana, control of vital forces. Prana is outgoing breath basically. But then all various modifications of prana also. But here pranayama primarily means the control of breath, controlling breathing. Because pranayama is considered the preparation for the subsequent steps of the yoga. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. That prepares the mind for pratyahara, then that for dharana, then for dhyana and samadhi. So restraining the breath of pranayama is considered very important in Yoga Shastra. Because the breath has direct connection with the mind, and therefore controlling breath enables us to control the mind. So this is how the progress is from the gross to the subtle. Controlling the body helps us controlling the breath, asana. And then pranayama, controlling breath, helps us to control the sense organs, and then control the mind. So pranayama is a very important practice in the Yoga Shastra. It is one of the limbs, of course, of the Ashtanga Yoga. The fourth one, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. But it's such an important limb that Lord Krishna described that as a separate yajna. Pranayama parayanaha. Those who are devoted to pranayama, restraining the breath. There are some people who have liking for this. They are born with that kind of aptitude and ability. Everybody cannot do. Everybody cannot be dravya yajna, tapo yajna. Everybody has his own kind of aptitudes. They were brought, from the past births. Therefore we find different people devoted to different spiritual practices. And here is a spiritual practice called pranayama, restraining the breath, which some people have facility to do, and that's what they keep on doing. And here Lord Krishna says, apane juhvati pranam. The breathing in is called apanam. Breathing out is called prana. Well, the word prana can be used for vital air in general. But when we talk of the different modifications of prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, then prana is the breathing in, the breathing out, apana, breathing in, vyana, circulation, etc. So Lord Krishna says, apane juhvati pranam. Juhvati, offer. Pranam, they offer prana. What is prana? Breathing out. So breathing out is offered. Apane, in the fire of apana, breathing in. Meaning what? The breathing out is restrained. The breathing out, prana is offered to apana. That means breathing out is not allowed, only breathing in. This is called, so breathing in is one of the prana, it's called puraka. Means filling your lungs with air. Yes, filling the lungs with air is called puraka. Prane, panam, tatha, but the other way around. The apanam, the incoming breath is offered to the outgoing breath, meaning this breathing out there is called rechaka, emptying the lungs. The filling the lungs, puraka. According to the prescribed, stipulated way, you count, number. And thus slowly and slowly breathe in. According to slowly and slowly, make it slower and slower and slower. The other kind of pranayama is rechaka. Slowly breathe out, empty the lungs again in a prescribed manner. So there are different times, so 1, 4, 8, etc. Breathing in is 1, breathing in, breathing out is retaining and breathing out 4, 8. But here we are talking about simply filling the lungs. Slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. Emptying the lungs, rechaka, again slowly and slowly and slowly. Meaning that the natural movement of prana is restrained. There may be like 16 breaths in a minute. But I slowly restrain them. And I allow only filling the lungs, in one case emptying the lungs. Prana apana gati ruddhva. Prana apana gati ruddhva. Restraining the movement of prana apana both, meaning not allowing the breathing out and breathing in. Restraining. That's called the kumbhaka. Again, it is internal kumbhaka where the air is breathed in and retained there. external kumbhaka, air is breathed out and retained there, or neither breathing in or breathing out. Different kinds of kumbhakas are there. So this is prana apana gati ruddha. Restrain the movement of prana and apana. Not allowing prana, not allowing apana. Not allowing breathing out, not allowing breathing in, meaning restraining the breath. It's called kumbhaka. The internal kumbhaka, external kumbhaka. Pranayama, this is also called a yajna. If this practice involves restraint, that means there also offering is made, so that is yajna. It becomes spiritual practice when it is done again in the spirit of worship as an offering. So pranayama is a very, very important practice for purification of mind. Then Lord Krishna continues. अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः Apare niyat aharaha, those who regulate the ahara of the food. Well, that goes without saying. In the practice of pranayama, the ahara of the food has to be regulated anyway. If food is not regulated, then if the digestion is not proper, it creates all kinds of problems and therefore becomes an obstacle to pranayama. Therefore, the practice of pranayama presupposes the niyat aharatvam or regulation of the food as stipulated by the Yoga Shastra. Purved ashanenardham trutiyam udakena va vayo sanchanarthaya chaturtham avasheshed. A famous verse. Purayet ashanena ardham. One should fill one's stomach with solid food. Half the stomach is filled by solid food. Ashanena, by food, solid food. Trutiyam udakena va. 1/4 is filled by udaka, water or liquid. Vayoho sanchanarthaya chaturtham avasheshet. 1/4 of the stomach should be kept empty for movement of air for digestion purposes. One typical verse of Yoga Shastra. So niyata aharaha, those who have restrained their food intake. Pranan praneshu juhvati, they offer one prana into other prana. Now, these are more advanced practices. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, all these are different modifications of prana. And there are yogis who gain a mastery over themselves, where they restrain each one of these activities. Prana is restrained, apana, vyana is restrained, udana, the digestive fire, prana also restrained, samana, digestive fire. So these are different expressions of prana. Pranan, praneshu juhvati. They gain control over this one after the other different activities of prana and gain a complete mastery over themselves. So this is an advanced level of pranayama, where not only it is the restraining of the breath, but then restraining of all the physiological activities in the body. So all these different kinds of yajnas, and we can include others also. Here Lord Krishna describes some of them. Each one of them is called yajna. Because each one of them involves some kind of offering, is self-restrained or self-offering is involved. And as long as that is done in the spirit of worship, as an offering, becomes a yajna, which becomes a means of purification of mind. Sarve pyete yajna vidaha yajnak shapita kalmashaha yajnak shapita kalmashaha. Those who have destroyed that kalmasha means impurities. Shapita destroyed by yajna. So yajnak shapita kalmashaha. Yajnaihi kshapitaha nashitaha kalmasha yesham te yajnak shapita kalmashaha. Those who have destroyed that kalmasha means impurity. Ragadvesha, the impurities of mind. So each one of these yajnas that was described in the previous verses was all meant for purification of mind. So when any of these practices is carried out with the purpose of purification of mind, and that happens when that practice is done as in the spirit of worship, then it is conducive to destroying the impurities. Sarve pyete yajna vidaha yajñān vidanti jananti avindanti labhante vāti yajna vidaha yajñānam jñātāraha yajñānam kartāraha. So yajñān vidanti vid dhatu means jnāne. So yajñān vidanti jananti yajna vidaha, those who know the yajnas, knowers of yajna, and with labhe yajñān vidanti labhante, those who perform the yajna. So yajna vidaha, meaning knowers of yajna and performers of the yajna. So these people have the purpose, these are all, each one of them becomes a spiritual practice because yajnak shapita kalmashaha. By the yajnas, those who have destroyed that kalmasha or impurities. So what happens? Yajnak shavita kalmashaha. That kalmasha impurities slowly and slowly become attenuated, destroyed. Then what happens? What's the result? That's described in the verse 31. Yajna shishta mrita bhujaha
Yajna shishta mrita bhujaha
Yanti brahma sanatanam
Yanti brahma sanatanam
Nayam lokostya yajnasya
Nayam lokostya yajnasya
Kuto nyah kuru sattama
Tumyah kuru sattama.
Yajna shishta amrita bhujaha. Yajnanam system, yajna system. Typically, when a yajna is performed or a fire ritual sacrifice is performed, after the offering is made to devatas, whatever remains, so you have a certain material that you have offered to the devatas. From that, the homa is done. After the homa is done, then something is left over. So yajna system, whatever is left over after performing the yajna, that amrutam, that is called amruta, that is called the ambrosia, amrutam. Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha. Bhujaha, those people who partake of what is left after performance of yajna. In the case of a yajna where material is offered to the devatas, you take that as a prasada. Whatever is left is taken as prasada. The idea is that all offering is first made to devatas and then only you partake of what is left over. So spirit is that I only sustain myself on what is left over after giving the share of the devatas to them and pitrus. So typically, a householder was required to perform the 5 Mahayajnas. Each yajna involves an offering. Brahma yajna means recital of Vedas. Deva yajna means making offering to devatas through the yajnas or the worshipping devatas, our daily puja, etc. The Pitru yajna offering to the ancestors, Nu yajna offering to the guests and other living beings in society, needy people, and Bhuta yajna making offerings to the other creatures who are associated with our life, like the cows, animals, trees, plants. So they have the first share. How a householder looks upon himself as, these are the stakeholders. So they must first get their share. And having offered them their share, whatever is left is what I am entitled to. That's a spirit. That a person looks upon himself as entitled to only that. He may have a certain income. He may acquire something. From that, he first offers to all the stakeholders whose grace, whose help, whose support was involved in his acquiring this. And so, yajna shishta, so therefore, having offered everything, then whatever remains belongs to me, at the most. Yajna shishta shanasantaha muchyante sarvakilvishahi. The 3rd chapter also, Lord Krishna said that those who partake only of what is left over after giving to the people, the stakeholders, meaning a great sacrifice involved, that in their life the stakeholders have first place and then what is left over is what I partake. Muchyante sarvakilvishahi, they become free from all the sins, all the negative effects. So the yajna is the means of becoming free from impurities of mind, because it involves sacrifice or self-offering at all the levels. Same idea is repeated, yajna shishta amrita bhujaha. Bhuja, those who partake of amrita, the ambrosia. Shishta, that is left over. Yajna, after performing the yajna, whatever yajna you have chosen, that gets a preference. So whatever time is to be given there, whatever effort is to be allotted to that, and anything that is required for performing is first done. And then you do what is necessary for yourself. Not that you first finish what you need to do and then allow the rest of the time for yajna. No. First, yajna is performed as stipulated. So whatever spiritual practice you have chosen, that has the priority. Having done that properly in a stipulated manner, then whatever time and any resources left are used for yourself. That's the spirit. Yajna shishta amrita bhujaha yanti brahma sanatanam. There Lord Krishna in the 3rd chapter said, muchyante sarvakilvishahi. This whole spirit of yajna, self-offering, contributing to those who are contributors in my life, whole conducive to antakarana shuddhi, purification of mind. So even though Lord Krishna says, yanti brahma sanatanam, This performance of yajna attains Sanatana Brahman not directly, through this type of antahkarana shuddhi. These yajnas means spiritual practices performed in the spirit of worship as a self-offering are conducive to this purification of mind, which in turn is the required preparation for the knowledge. So when the mind gains purification, becomes sattvic, then a desire for knowledge arises. Tamedam vedanuvachanena brahmanaha vividishanti yajnena danena tapasa anashakena. Says the Upanishad. Brahmanaha vividishanti. The brahmanaha, the contemplative people, the discriminating people, those who understand what the purpose of life is, and they realize that life is what I do is meant for purification of mind. Ultimately, purpose of life is moksha. And jnanam, the knowledge of the self, is the means of moksha. And self-knowledge requires me to be prepared for self-knowledge. What's the preparation? Vividisha, the desire for self-knowledge. And I cannot will the desire. Desire has to arise. What I can do is to prepare my mind where this desire arises. What is that preparation? Antahkarana shuddhi, purification of mind. Thus, when the mind becomes purified of the impurities, becomes sattvic, then the desire for self-knowledge arises, called vividisha, vedutum ichcha. Tametam vedanuvachanena brahmanaha vividishanti yajnena danena tapasa anashakena. That brahmana, this aspirants, perform the day-to-day activities of yajna, dana, tapasya that we all discussed. Or vividishanti, vedam ichanti, they perform the then vedanuvachanena, recital of Vedas. Recital of Vedas, yajna, dana, tapaha, austerity, essentially what we talked about. They do for what purpose? Vividishanti, with the purpose that there should arise in my mind a desire for knowledge. So these yajnas are meant for self-purification. And what is a mark of self-purification? When progressively love for knowledge arises. The desires slowly get replaced by the desire for knowledge. Until a point comes that remains the only desire. Atmecha vyavasyeta nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam, says Shankaracharya ji. That gain a firm desire for self-knowledge. Then give up everything else. Sad vidvan upasrupyatam, we approach teacher, that we'll talk about later here itself. So there are those who value, of course, everybody wants moksha, but here are the people who understand what moksha is, that it is knowledge, because it's the attainment of already attained. Therefore, knowledge is the means of moksha. And knowledge requires certainly desire for knowledge. That requires again the state of mind, which we call the Shuddha Antahkaranam, a mind enjoying purity. And that purity comes by a right attitude while performing the action. Purity doesn't come otherwise. It's not that action that purifies. Action becomes the occasion for maintaining the attitude of Ishvararma Buddhi, attitude of worship, attitude of offering, attitude of contribution. In that way, action becomes the occasion for maintaining that attitude, with which slowly the mind gains purity. So, yajna shishta mrutabuja yanti brahma sanatanam. Lord Krishna says those who are devoted to the spiritual practices called yajna progressively gain antahkarana shuddhi. Then there is a desire for knowledge. And that leads them to Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. Sanatanam Brahma Yanti. They attain the knowledge of Brahman, become Brahma. Sayohai Paramam Brahma Veda Brahmayo Hodi. One who knows Brahman becomes Brahma. Just as one who knows the 10th man becomes 10th man. Brahma Ivasan Brahma Apyeti. Brahman is not to be attained. Brahma Ivasan Brahma Apyeti. He is already Brahman. Ignorance that creates this notion that I am not Brahman. So all that is necessary is remove that notion that I am not Brahman. Then I am Brahman is the fact that reveals it. That becomes self-revealed. Therefore, all these practices are a means of moksha. Meaning, attainment of Brahman means knowing Brahman is my own self, which is a means of moksha. So, Lord Krishna presented all these different yajnas as spiritual practices, and we can take one or more depending upon our disposition as a means of inner purification. In the second line, Lord Krishna says, Nayam logos ayajnasya kutonyah kuru sattama. Ayajnasya ayam lokah nasti. Ayajna. Yathoktanam yajnanam ekova yajno yasya nasti. There is no yajna in the life of a person. Several yajnas, the spiritual practices are described. There is someone who doesn't have any of them because there is no yajna in the life. Their life is devoted to bhoga. Simply gratification of satiating the urges of sense organs and mind and ego. In their life, there is no room for any yajna or self-sacrifice, self-offering, because they are too busy consuming. So though this life is characterized by consumption, enjoying sense pleasures, gratifying ego, gratifying one's emotional needs, gratifying self needs. So those who think that that is the way of life, that is the success in life, so that is what one has to do, and then naturally they are devoted only to the bhoga, the self-gratification. There cannot be yajna, the self-offering. Yajna, self-offering. Ayajna is bhoga, self-gratification. So ayajna means one in whose life yajna is not there, self-offering is not there. Then what is there? Self-gratification is there. Ayajnasya. So one who is only devoted to self-gratification, the level of senses, level of mind, level of intellect, level of ego. Nayam lokosti, Lord Krishna says that those who are only devoted to this self-gratification, they cannot have happiness even in this world. I am loka nasti. They may have many things all right, but not the real happiness in this world. Kutonyah kuru sattama. That even this life of the self-gratification, life of indulgence is not the means of happiness. They cannot be happy. The only way to become happy in the life is to have the spirit of yajna. That's the only way to become happy. Even the day-to-day material. So in our worldly life also, happiness can come only if you are living life in the spirit of yajna. Otherwise there cannot be happiness. Ayajnasya ayam lokopi nasti. Even this world, meaning that the happiness in this world also is not there for those in whose life there is no spirit of yajna. Kutonyah kuru sattama. He kuru sattama. When this loka is not there, when this happiness is not there, what to talk of other world? Mean of moksha. Where is the question of moksha? So thus, Lord Krishna praises yajna. If there is no yajna in the life, no spirit of self-offering, no contribution at all, there is no happiness in life. There can be name, fame, prosperity, power, wealth, all these things can be there. All kinds of objects of pleasure are there, all kinds of comforts are there, but happiness is a different thing, understand? Happiness is a state of mind that is created by the spirit of yajna. So Lord Krishna says, Nayam lokosti ayajnasya. The one in whose life there is no yajna at all, even the happiness of this world is not there. Kuto anya, kuta anya. Where is the question of moksha for them? Hey Kuru Sattama, hey most exalted among the Kurus, hey Arjuna. And thus, this discussion here of the different yajnas that Lord Krishna has chosen to describe here, and the purpose we'll see in the next verse, is to praise the Jnana Yajna. So, as far as the commentators are concerned, this description of yajnas is only purpose of praising the Jnana Yajna, but here we take this description also more seriously, because all these yajnas are, some of them are those which we can adopt in our own life as spiritual practices. And that's why we discuss to some extent in the details these yajnas, and the further discussion will continue from the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.